I was on OkCupid and a guy told me I had too many red flags, and I thought it was funny because my profile basically says it goes into detail. I want a straight man, a man that's at least 6 foot or close. And I only say 6 foot or close because I'm short, but I have a tall gene. Because my parents, for some reason, my parents are both above average height. My dad's over 6 foot. My mom's like 5'10". My sister's like 5'11", 6 foot, somewhere in there. And my brother, he's like over 6 foot. And my other brother is like 5'10" or so. And I'm short. I'm the shortest person in my family. I'm the second shortest person in my family, and at least on my mother's side. I'm the second shortest person in my mother's side for at least 3 generations. The second shortest. Because my aunt, she's shorter than me. And I'm almost average height. So, I have a tall gene. Everyone in my family is a lot taller than me. Yeah, because when I grew up, and then my parents, they realized how short I was. Because it was like, they noticed, and then like, I didn't see my dad for a while, and then I was standing next to my siblings, and he's like, damn, I didn't realize you were so short. I would have thought you would have been a lot taller. Because people expect, because it was like when I was a kid, my sister was taller than me, but my sister's also older than me. But we were around the same height. Then it was like she had a big growth spurt, and I did not. I've pretty much been the same height since like 5th grade. And there was no extreme medical issues or anything that was ever discovered for why I'm so short. But I do have the height gene. And then also, if I brought somebody home that was that short, my family, they'd be like, you had that, you couldn't find anybody? And they'd crack jokes. So, and then plus I like a taller guy. Because sometimes I go out, especially when I was young, and I'd go out, and it wasn't like I was going out to the bar or anything. I'd go to the grocery store. I'd go walk down the street. And even now, guys will still hit on me because people don't realize how old I am. And that's the funny thing. I can't find a guy my age. It's really hard to date a guy my age because most guys that try and date me are a hell of a lot younger than me. And I feel awkward dating someone that young. I'd rather date someone my age, but I was watching something on YouTube, and like women, they were around my age, and they were like, "Oh, we're dating guys this age," and I think I might start dating the guys that ask me out. Because if I dated the guys that ask me out, I'd go out a hell of a lot more. Because people don't believe I'm as old as I am. And then my doctor even, he was like, "You look really young." Because he thought I looked a hell of a lot younger than my medical file said I was, because he hadn't seen me in a long time because I switched insurances and I was going some other places. And then he saw me after a while and he's like, "You look really young." And I think my doctor's around my age. But he's like, "You look really young." And I'm like, yeah, people don't believe my age all the time. People think I had work done. And it's like, nope, didn't have any work done. I just look young. Yeah. So I was on OkCupid, and this guy told me I had too many red flags. Okay, my red flags, which I'm assuming are that I was very detailed in what I'm looking for. A man with no children that wants to get married and have as many kids as I can until I can't anymore. And then this one guy, I told him that I want to have as many kids as I can until I can't anymore. And it's not like I'm in my prime childbearing years or anything. It's just like I'm trying to have as many as I can until the doctor tells me to stop or I can't. And you would think I'm trying to have a hell of a lot of kids. Then he was like, one guy was like, are you trying to get government money? Are you doing it for taxes and stuff? And I'm just like, oh, okay, if I had a husband and I'm trying to have as many kids as I can, and I'm doing it for, I'm guessing he means food stamps when he says government money. And then he goes on to taxes. And I'm like, no, I can support myself. I'm independent. I can change my career if I get married, get a house and a husband and everything. I can change my career pretty easy and still stay at home with my kids and still work full time. And if I did get married, stayed home with my kids and had a business, I would actually make more money than I make now. Actually, a hell of a lot more money. But he thought I was some kind of gold digger. And when did wanting to get married and have kids make you a gold digger? Especially when you're financially independent and you'd still stay financially independent and most likely the breadwinner. But somehow that makes you a gold digger. And another guy, but the other guy I was talking about originally, he was telling me that I'm a red flag. And my profile just basically says no men with children. It might even say, I don't think it says no balding men, but I'm not really into balding men. I like a man with a full head of hair. I'm not really into gray hair. I don't like a man with long nails. I don't like a man that doesn't shower. I don't like a man that doesn't shower with actual soap. I dated a guy once and he would shower with shampoo. He'd shampoo his hair and the soap that fell down off of his head, he'd rub that around his body to shower instead of soap. And I want a man that cuts his nails, showers with like soap, whether that's a shower gel or a bar soap or whatever. And if you're using a bar or a shower gel, use a towel or a loofah or something to clean your body with, preferably a towel as your main source, and you can use a loofah for exfoliating or whatever. A loofah sponge or, yeah, loofah sponge. Now I'm thinking, because I know what a loofah is, but I'm thinking, what is that other thing that I use? Cause I use it's like a sponge. I call it a loofah, but then I actually use a real loofah that grows. But the other thing I use is plastic, but it's kind of like a loofah, but I think it's called a loofah too. And then like the shower gloves, and then like a back scrubber. Yeah, if I went over my shower supplies, it'll be like, okay, that's a bit excessive, but I'm not saying somebody needs to use everything, because I have like a back scrubber. I have like this thing you hold with like both hands you can scrub your back with. I have the shower gloves. I have bath towels. I have loofah sponges, and then like the plastic ones too. And then I have like a foot scrubber. And that's not even including the products, because I use, when I shower, I use a shower gel, I use a bar soap, and I have like body scrubs too. Yeah. And I have other stuff that I can't even think of that I have in my shower. Then I have multiple types of razors, but I don't really shave because I had laser, so I don't really need to shave, but I have razors if needed. And this guy was telling me I'm high, I want too much, which are red flags. Because you ever see a guy and he has like dirty nails and stuff, and then he's trying to do stuff to you or like trying to talk to you, and it's like, yeah, no, your nails are dirty, your nails are long and they're gross, your face is dirty, you have bad skin, and it's like, why don't you go to the dermatologist? You have health insurance, you have a good job. I want a man that goes to the dentist. You have health insurance, you have a job. Why don't you use it? You have dental insurance, vision. Why don't you use it? I want a man that goes to the dentist at least every 3 to 6 months. I want a man that goes to the doctor at least twice a year. But if he's sexually active, I want him to go more. I want a man with no children. I want a man that washes his hair and manages it. A man with a clean shaven face. But sometimes I will do a beard. Sometimes. But I prefer a man with a clean shaven face. And I'm not even saying go to the nail salon, because I don't like when a man goes to a nail salon and he needs help to get his nails done. I'd rather a man do his own nails, but I don't like when a man has like super short nails and like a nail biter, because that makes me like uncomfortable. I like a man that can just manage his health and hygiene, and it's not controlling and all this stuff. And I don't consider any of this to be controlling. I consider it to be good hygiene. Yeah, and I want a man that just showers with soap and stuff, even just with a towel or a loofah and soap and water. But then I wonder, because I see like these videos and like white people say they don't use towels, and this is a question that goes both ways for the men and the women. So if you don't use a towel, I'm assuming you put the soap up your butt and up your vagina. So I'm wondering, how do you get the soap out? Because it's like, okay, the butt, I can understand. You can go under the water and spread your ass to get the soap out. But don't you wonder if there's any soap left in there and you want to make sure it's like gone? And then if it's in your vagina, and I know there's the hose, but not everybody has a hose. And back in the old days, people didn't have hoses unless they were like showering in the yard, because it's like the shower hose or whatever, the shower head, and you can move it. How do you get the soap out of your vagina if you're not using a towel? These are questions. It's like you shouldn't ask them, but I'm wondering. And I've seen like all that stuff with like the hygiene Olympics and stuff. It's like, I'm not into that. Just clean yourself. And I'm not even saying you have to shower multiple times a day. It's cool if you do. Yeah, and I want a man that brushes his teeth and flosses his teeth. Because sometimes I look at like these pictures on these dating apps and it's like, my teeth aren't bad. I just don't show my teeth. And I keep my teeth well maintained. But I look at these pictures on these dating apps. My voice isn't the best right now. But when I make these videos, I keep a bottle of water next to me. But I'm just thinking, when I see guys in these pictures, it's like they're showing they have like a buildup of plaque on their teeth. They have stuff in their teeth. Their teeth look like they've never been to the dentist and a lot of stuff. And when I see a lot of that stuff, I'm thinking, okay, this man is disabled, severely disabled. And then another thing that I see where I'm like, no, when the man has long nails, his eyebrows are unkempt, but then also a man can take too much care of his eyebrows. Like when I see a man and his eyebrows are waxed and plucked, and if I can notice it, you did too much. And I can't date a man where it looks like his eyebrows were plucked. It's like, okay, go clean up around your eyebrows. But when you're like cleaning up so much where it's noticeable, I can't do that. And a man that gets his nails done, I don't like that. It's like, take care of yourself. You don't need to go somewhere. And then also the reason why I don't like a man that goes to the nail salon, because I wouldn't go to a nail salon, because you hear about the funguses, the diseases, and all that stuff. Yeah, that's why I wouldn't want to. And it's like they're not cleaning those chairs in between people. You're putting your foot in a thing with somebody, or like tons of people have had their feet in there, and it's like they don't clean those things in between, and it's just gross. And then they're using tools on you that they've used on other people, which is gross. So, not looking for a man that goes to a nail salon. And then I'm not looking for one of those guys that's like, you need to go to a nail salon. And that's one thing I've noticed because I watch Pop the Balloon a lot. Because I've never had this said to me because I live in the suburbs and I don't really come across this very often. But I noticed on like Pop the Balloon, women that don't get fake nails and get a bunch of stuff done to their nails, the men are like, you need to go get your nails done. I've never had a man tell me to go get my nails done or to do that. And I've seen it like on occasion, like if I go somewhere and it's like a more urban area where the nails are done and stuff. And then every now and then I might see a white girl with it done, but she's generally from an urban area. But I don't see that on a daily basis, and I don't like that. But I've never had a guy say that to me, but I wouldn't want to date a guy that would tell me that. And I also think it's because of who I date. I've dated a lot. Because I realized some people, I was talking to this guy, and he's like, don't say you're dating all these people because people will think you're sleeping with all these people. And I was like, no, but then he could be right. And it's like, I've never slept with anyone that I've dated, like sex or anything. Never. Yeah, I just go out on dinner dates and stuff and like hang out in the park and do fun stuff, but never any sex, barely any kissing. And it's like, he said that, and it's like, if you're saying you're dating all these people, people are thinking you're sleeping with everyone. And I'm like, no, people don't think that, but I don't. I just go on dates with people. Most of the men I go on dates with are virgins anyway. And that's something I'm looking for in a man. Even at my age, I'm still looking for a man because surprisingly, I meet a lot of men that are virgins and they're not always angry. Sometimes they're just shy and cultural and religious reasons. But I would rather date a man who is a virgin, childless, and all this because men, I've always heard that men can't get tested for HPV. You don't know, women can get tested for HPV, and a man wouldn't know if he had HPV until he either got cancer or his girlfriend or wife went to the doctor and said she had HPV, and then he'd know he had HPV. And I don't want HPV. That can turn into cancer. And I don't want to date a guy that sleeps around or has slept around or anything because I don't want HPV or any other STD. So I rather keep it to dating religious men that are virgins. And I would say a good portion of the men I have dated are religious and virgins. And you're like, wait, we've heard a lot of your videos. You're dating... Yeah, I surprisingly date a lot of Indian men. I date a lot of North African men, men that identify as Muslim, a lot of men around Asia, North Africa. That's part of the reason why when I try and date men from China, it doesn't work out. Yeah, which is weird because you would think you don't really hear Chinese men going all crazy and doing stuff. But I feel for me personally, it's the hardest to have a relationship with a Chinese man, especially when he's not like fully Americanized. Because when I've tried, and I just check in to see, like, have they gone to a massage parlor? And they're always like, yeah, well, it's not illegal, or she wanted to. And you're going to massage parlors getting happy endings. And I don't want to date you because you're seeing prostitutes. And it's an issue that has come up with dating white men sometimes, because I'm like, I don't want to date a man that goes to a massage parlor. It's like, if you need a massage, it's like, why don't you come to me or talk to me about it or something? I don't want a man that goes to a massage parlor because I see that as cheating. If you're having that much of a problem, go see a chiropractor. And so that's why relationships with me and Chinese men never seem to work out, or either the massage parlors or drugs. And you're thinking, what? And and then another thing when dating a Chinese man, if he lives with his parents, living with his parents, prostitutes, and drugs. And you're thinking, you would think these would be issues you'd have with white men, but no, not really. Like, white men, they might have a roommate, and I don't like the roommate idea. Because my whole thing is, why do you have a roommate? You're living here paying all this money, and you have a roommate when you could go move outside of the city and pay a hell of a lot less and have your own place, a backyard, and privacy. You just might have, and you probably get up at the same time to go to work because there's so much traffic in the city and you're living on the other side. So it's like, why not just move a little bit further away? And if you want to hang out in the city after work or whatever, stay as long as you want, or until the last bus leaves, or until you feel like driving back. Or take a Uber because it's not that far away. So it's like, I don't understand why. And then I can't date a man that's like, oh, I need to stay in the city my whole life and it's too expensive. You can be evicted at any time. Your rent can go up. You have no space. There's not like a real grocery store that's that close, or you have to take the bus because you can't really drive because there's no parking. When you could go live in the suburbs, have steady rent where your rent doesn't go up more than like $100 or so a year. They're not evicting you unless you do something and all this other stuff. So I don't understand the point of living in the city if it could lead to homelessness at any time within 30 days. Because I know people who've lived in their apartments in San Francisco for like 30 years, and then the building suddenly sold, and then they evicted everybody. And I know people who've lived in the same apartment in the suburbs, and it's like, yeah, it's not selling. The suburbs are just basic. And then also the safety issue and everything. But a guy told me I had too many red flags. I wanted a man that was stable, clean, and independent. And I didn't even say like how much money he needs to make. Because in California, $100,000 is not that much. And I would identify as a slacker because there's a lot of shit I don't like to do. And the minimum wage is pretty high. Minimum wage is pretty high. Basic salary is pretty high. Even at McDonald's, they're paying like 20-something an hour at McDonald's. And there's so many different types of jobs. Because it's like, I could go work a full-time job and make $100,000, but I choose not to because I don't want to go to work every day and people annoy me. So I don't go to work every day, but I do work and I have a full-time job and then I have side gigs and I don't like to do the same thing every day. I like to see new people do different things, explore. And as a person that doesn't even take on a full-time job, well, I do have a full-time job, it's just flexible. And then I take on side jobs and it's not that hard to make over $100,000. And you don't have to be awake to make $100,000. And when I say you don't have to be awake, I don't mean like prostitution or anything. And especially with like so many baby boomers and other people getting old, these companies, they're looking for people to like show up and just like sit with you and then they'll feed you. Because like that's another reason why I don't get homelessness. In some situations, it's like if you have an issue, but other people, because I'm meeting like baby boomers, like their rent goes up like $100 instead of like picking up an extra job or a side job, they're deciding to go become homeless. And it's like, I don't understand it. Why not just go pick up a side job? Because some side jobs, like I'll just apply for stuff and see what comes. Because I know people, they'll go sit with, especially when they have a driver's license, they'll go visit senior citizens and they'll go have lunch with them. They'll either go out to a restaurant or they might go sit with them and make them lunch. And they'll just sit there for like a couple hours and they're making like some extra money. Or some people will go to like an older person's house at night and just go to sleep. And all they have to do is just stay there and go to sleep. And they get paid. And sometimes it's 5 days a week. Sometimes it's a day here, a day there. Sometimes it's like 3 days a week, however many days you want to do. And you're getting paid and you're not doing shit really. And you're getting benefits and other stuff. And it's like, why don't you go? It's extra money and all you have to do is go to sleep. And people are like, oh, I can only sleep in my bed. Oh, I don't want to go have lunch with this person or whatever. I don't want to go sit with them. And it's like extra easy money. And with more baby boomers getting older, some are going into homes, some are staying at home. The ones that are still independent, staying at home. It's like, why not go work with them, sit with them? And sometimes you learn some good information. And they're really nice too. So it's like, why not? Yeah. Because that's another thing. If I meet a guy, I want a guy who has multiple income streams because I don't want to meet a guy and then we fall in love and get married and he has one job, he loses that one job, he can't find another job. He says he can't find another job or he can't do this, so he's on unemployment, then his unemployment runs out and then it's like, oh shit, everything's dependent on me. And it's like, okay, I got you all this stuff. You could have got a side job, one of these jobs where you could go sit with the elderly. It's like, no, I don't want to go sit with other people. You could have got a job where you could have showed up and went to sleep and got full benefits and everything and paid. And you're like, no, I don't want to. And then some of these jobs even pay your transportation to go to work. And they're like, no. It's like, even if you had a full-time job, I still want you to take these jobs because it's just a few hours here, a few hours there. It's not really doing anything. Because if you go home and you go to sleep, you're not making any money. You're just at home sleeping. You can sit there, look at the internet, watch TV, whatever. All the same stuff you most likely do at home, you can do there, and you get paid for it. So it's like, why not go? And men are like, no, I don't want to. And that's just so annoying. Because if I got fired from something one day, I have a place to go the next day. If I want to. I want a man who has side jobs. That's driven like me, that can make money. And then I like a man, it's like, okay, you have your main education of what you want to do, your life goal or whatever. But when that life goal ends, a man with a trade or that went to school to get a skill or something, or that learned a skill where he can use that to make money. Because what I did, I went to college and then they were like, oh, you could go here and save some money. So I'm like, okay. And then I start looking at the catalog and I'm like, this sounds like interesting. Maybe I'll take a few classes here or there. And then on my first day, I ended up getting a job. And I've been with that company off and on since my first day of taking a class. And then also, because I did this, I can always call them and ask them and go to their job center to find a new job. But I never take on a full-time job, just part-time jobs, on-call jobs. And I always have a job. And then because I excelled in that and I took so many classes, that can take me up to a higher level where I could be like executive management in a company. But with that, along with my other degrees, but I choose not to because I don't want to go every day. But I have all these options of things I did in my free time, because all this stuff I did in my free time, people are like, oh, I don't have time to go to school. They offer classes starting at like 7 in the morning, and the classes they end at 10 p.m. And these classes are Monday through Saturday, and they're in person Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to like 10 p.m. all day, different classes. And then they have classes online, and then they have classes that are online, but you don't have to be there at a certain time. You just have to get your work done by a certain time and all this stuff. And it's like, why don't you have time to go to class? I used to go to class during the day, nights, weekends, all the time. And I still had full-time jobs. And I had side jobs. Because it's like, okay, that's cool. You do Uber, Lyft, Instacart, Amazon delivery and whatever. It's cool, but what if your car breaks down? And when your car breaks down, because even if your car breaks down, you can still do some of the jobs with the elderly, the disabled and stuff. But then you also want to have a job where it's like, it's not dependent on if you have a car, where if you don't have a car, you can still get to that job and different things. So it's always important. But it's funny how I was talking about a guy on OkCupid telling me how I'm high maintenance to how I'm talking about jobs and futures and careers and other things that you can do. And now I'm working on trying to do like some work from home stuff. Because if I do work from home stuff, that would be really good, because then I can vacation more and still do work from home stuff and get paid while I vacation. So if you like, watch and subscribe. Bye.